We're filming in a very special place today because the artist I'm speaking to has work installed right here behind us. And when the sun shines through it, it totally transforms. Today on Epicvishin, I'm talking to artist Chris Anderson. Welcome, Chris.
Thank you, Jojo.
Good to see you. Yeah. We met here the first time. Do you remember that day?
I absolutely remember that day, yes.
And does it feel different being back in this space today?
It does, because it's been a while since I've revisited it, and it's lovely to be back in there.
That's good. What was going through your mind the first time you saw this fully installed?
Relief, because I wasn't entirely sure how it would look, obviously, because I've done the paintings, I've done the original artwork, but on a much smaller scale.
Right.
So I was obviously just imagining how it would be on a much larger scale, actually installed with the vinyls.
Yeah.
So it was fantastic to see it when it was installed. It just, it looked just how I hoped. It was great. Everything had lined up the way I hoped.
Yeah.
So
in your head, this is exactly how you pictured it?
It is. Yeah, absolutely. All those weeks of measuring were really worthwhile.
That's good. So what inspired the design and the symbols in it?
Well, I was working with the archives, and there's so much in the archives, as you can imagine. But in the framed artwork area of the archives, there was some beautiful town crests for Tameside.
Yeah.
And they were just really illuminated, wax sealed, beautiful calligraphy, really well painted, and I just adored them. So I knew then I wanted to do something with those.
Right.
And this area just seemed to lend itself really well to that. I'd looked at the windows and the artwork on here previously. There was fabulous artwork up here before I had mine. And as you say, I noticed how the sun really shone through. And so it brought to mind stained glass windows immediately when I saw it.
Yeah.
And that paired with the town crests and the colours in the artwork, it just made perfect sense, really. And the more I looked, there's 9 towns in Tameside, and there are 9 individual windows at the top there. So it was just lovely.
What a coincidence! Yeah.
And
it was made for it then.
Absolutely, yeah. It was just asking to be done in that respect. And so I've abstracted the town crest quite a lot,
right.
Because again, I wanted to keep in the stained glass feel. I wanted to work with the kind of linear quality of the structure of the windows themselves as well.
Yeah.
So and I also wanted to incorporate, as well as the 9 towns which were towards the top of this installation, I wanted to incorporate things that the public might not see of the archives upstairs.
Okay.
So the shelves, the gorgeous filing cabinets out there that are featured here, and I also wanted to incorporate a Manchester Regiment as well, because there's obviously a big portion of the archives are dedicated to the Manchester Regiment, and I felt it really important that we remembered them. Yeah. Front and centre, as you know, it's done here with the fleur-de-lis from the cap badges
and the poppies
and the poppies. And that's above the crest for Tameside itself, which again I've abstracted slightly. I've changed all of them slightly so that they all work together, so there is a kind of a uniformity to the whole piece. So
you mentioned stained glass effects. When the sunlight bursts through this, as an artist, what feeling does it give you?
Well, I think the feeling that I remember initially when I was just first working in here, it was magical. It was absolutely magical, because it transformed space, and the colours really, really shone through. And it was just really uplifting. So I wanted to try and keep that if I could, keep that kind of magic feeling.
I'm always curious about the person behind the work. So when did creativity first show up in your life?
I think I've always drawn. I mean, I think children do. Like, children love being creative. They love drawing. They love making. So naturally, I know that I always did. But I think for me, it was towards the end of primary school.
Mm-hmm.
I had a teacher who really noticed that that I drew, or she felt I drew well, and she really shone a light on that for me, and that was like the first time, and that was great. I mean, well, say that my parents did as well, but all parents do it. It's lovely. But yeah, I think from then really, and that kind of just really encouraged me to continue. So I always did. It was my go-to.
So what drew you specifically to printmaking and soft sculpture?
When I went to Tameside College, because I was born and raised in Droylsden, and then I studied at Tameside College, and that college was fantastic. The printmaking department was brilliant. I'd never done any printing before. And there's just everything there, screen printing, lino printing, etching. And so for the first time, I just had free reign, obviously with tuition, but over all these new materials.
Yeah.
And I loved the process. I loved the fact that you have a good idea what you hope to get with each print, but you never really know until it arrives.
Yeah.
And I love the fact that you could make multiples, the smell of the ink, everything about it, the hands-on, the total hands-on experience.
Yeah. I don't think I've ever heard anybody speak this passionately about printmaking.
It was just everything. It just really, I loved the printmaking. I loved all textiles. Clearly textiles stayed with me. And I loved the fine art painting as well. But yeah, printmaking just stayed with me. And I didn't really go back to printmaking until, many years later. I did a little bit when I went to Manchester Poly, to study illustration. Did a little bit of lino print there. But it wasn't until, say, 15 years ago that I actually returned to printmaking.
Right.
And that was inspired by an exhibition that I had here at Central Art Gallery.
Right.
And I was making a new body of work. Again, I was using soft sculpture and homely kind of techniques of knitting, crocheting, stitching, as I do.
Was there a moment where you realized that this is more than just a hobby?
Yes. I think towards the end of secondary school, when you're thinking about your career and where you'd like to go next, and I knew then that I really wanted to pursue, if not a career in art, and a life with art in it. It was very much a part of what I was about then, and continued to be. I chose illustration to study at Poly. Took it from there.
That's cool. What's something that you think people don't see about being an artist?
I think, I can only speak personally, I suppose.
Yeah.
But for me, it's the different chapters in your life and how art changes your relationship with art. Well, my relationship with art has changed over different chapters of my life, like having a family. Obviously it changed again. Constantly there, but it was, in different forms. So I could still create, still make. That was where printmaking was really useful again, because I could dip in and out and do things relatively quickly when I needed to. I think also for me, it's wrestling with your inner critic, and having like the two voices in your head, the voice that's always like, come on, do this and, keep going. And then the other voice that's a helpful critic, because you have to be a little self-critical, I think, to improve, but yeah, I think that kind of wrestle that goes on.
I always wonder about that because it's something I know a lot of artists, myself included, struggle with because you said that you need to have a bit of an inner critic for, to be able to do your work. But has there ever been a time where you felt like it was a bit too much, or, did you ever doubt yourself a bit too much?
Yes. Oh my goodness, yes. Yeah, I mean, I have relatively short periods of time, luckily, where I do think, and that imposter syndrome comes in.
Yeah.
And I feel maybe I'm not exactly where I want to be right now with my work, and maybe, it doesn't kind of turn out the way I want it to. And yeah, it is a constant thing, as you say, but it's, I always manage to overcome it, because art has always been my go-to as a way of making sense of what's happening in my life, or, it's a real means of expression for me. So first and foremost, it's always been a friend, so yes, those voices come, but they don't always last too long.
How do you keep going when motivation dips?
I just keep drawing. If motivation has dipped, then I just go back to my sketchbooks. I just try and pretend it isn't a thing, and just go back to basics. Just draw from life, and just do things I really love, and just take stock, really. Just take some time out. Still working, still doing, but taking that direct pressure off. Really.
What does it mean to you to create something like this that's rooted in Tameside's history, knowing that local people will walk in and see it?
It's a really lovely thought, and I hope that, people enjoy it. I think coming from Tameside and living in Tameside in different parts of my life, it means a lot. These are buildings that I've walked past, hundreds of times, and been connected with. So it's really special to have something that I've created housed here for a while.
In the process of creating this piece, was there any pressure knowing how important it is?
Yes. Again, like I was saying before about that inner critic, I sort of kind of try and quieten those voices, because I think there's always, well, for me, again, I can only speak personally, but there's always those voices. And I think if you think too deeply about it, then it kind of stops the creative process, or hinders the creative process in a way. I kind of have to just pretend I'm just making it for me almost, and just crack on with it, and dearly hope everybody else is happy with it and likes it at the end, because it's very much about other people. But the making process, I have to kind of tell myself that, pretend it's just something I'm doing for myself.
Okay, we are now entering the rapid fire round. I don't know if you've seen the show.
I have.
You have, so you know. Brilliant. Then we'll just crack on then. Okay, so as quickly as you can. Coffee or tea?
Tea.
Studio music or silence?
Oh, that is a difficult one, because I enjoy both.
Okay.
So can I have both?
You can have both. Does it depend on what you're doing?
If things have been really full on, really busy, I just adore silence. It's because it's not often our house is silent. So when it is, it's just lovely. But music, to get in the zone, and just lose myself, it's great.
Okay. Printmaking or sculpture?
Oh, come on, these are really difficult.
You can have both if you want.
Oh, okay. I mean, I have made sculpture. I've printed onto fabric and made sculpture using, so it's also interlinked. Everything kind of lends itself to everything. So
so both then.
I'm sorry, but
No, that's fine. One word that describes your creative process.
Expressive.
Okay.
The
color you're drawn to lately.
I love kind of more neutral tones at the moment.
Okay.
But I think my absolute go-to is like an almost turquoisey grey blue. It's hard to explain the colour, but I always find that that's where I start with my work. If I'm unsure, it's the first thread that I'll pick up. I'm doing embroidery, or it's, the first colour I'll mix just to get me going. I just love that colour.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right. Your favourite place in Tameside?
First and foremost, the home where I grew up. Absolutely.
Oh.
Absolutely.
Is it in Droylsden?
In Droylsden.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I think if I had to pick like a building, I'd say Astley Cheetham Art Gallery, because I worked there for a while.
Okay.
On the team doing workshops with local schools and also doing front of house, and that was just one of the best times.
Oh.
The best times. So, yeah.
If you weren't an artist, what would you be?
I think I've worked in art education,
Okay.
one way or another, a lot.
Yeah.
So I think I'd like to do something linked to workshops, or working in the community that way.
Yeah.
With children, young adults.
One piece of advice for aspiring creatives?
Don't give up. Never give up. If art is really what you want in your life, then I think the wonderful thing about being creative is you can make it a part of your life, regardless of whether you're in a full-on career as you'd hope for or not. You can still make it a part of your daily being. So yes, so just keep going, keep believing, and don't give up.
No, thank you so much, Chris. This has been amazing. As you already know, if you enjoy conversations like this, don't hesitate to click like, share, comment, and subscribe to the channel. We'll catch you on the next one.